I've been here a long time. You've been here a significant amount of time. Hey, can you remember any time in the past where in a debate or in the presentation of a bill there's reference to an industry? And doesn't that dismay you somewhat? I mean, I don't even know who the face of the industry is, except Thursday you did tell us that if we didn't take it up Thursday, that the industry would kill it on Monday.
Correct.
Now, are you expecting them, the industry, to kill it here in a moment? Or, or were you wrong on Thursday that the industry dislikes your proposal so bad that they'd work over the weekend to kill it?
Senator, I don't know the answer to that until we vote, but I believe that we're going to be able to suspend the rules based upon the commitments that various of you have made on the floor. And my hope is that once we put the amendments on, all of you will recognize whether you're for the amendments or not, and we'll obviously get a chance to vote on those. My hope is that once the amendments are on, whether you like all of them or you like some of them or otherwise, that we'll move this bill on to the House so that we can get the strong consumer bill that everyone wants, including myself.
Well, as we have our discussion, I want you to know up front, I plan to vote against suspension, and I want you to explain to me why it would be in the best interest from your vantage point as the author, someone from Houston who has no regulation. If your proposal passed with its amendment, Houston would continue to be unregulated, like your city of Dallas, like this city of Austin, like the great city of San Antonio, El Paso, and probably others. So why would someone from Houston vote for a watered-down statewide version versus the tough measures that exist in some of our municipalities? Why would someone from Houston consider that?
Well, Senator, first, I don't think your description is accurate at all. The amendments that are going to be put on this bill, and we've sent copies of those to everyone's office, including yours, the amendments bring about the consumer protections that our various consumer groups have asked for throughout the session.
No, they're not as strong as your city of Dallas, Austin, San Antonio. For instance, you say that it will save consumers $220 million.
No, I didn't say that. The Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner.
I know, but have you also seen numbers that will show that they'll make it back in a deregulated Houston environment probably in the first year? Because that is by far their largest unregulated geographic area. Would you not agree with that? That it's unregulated, huge market, and of course they'd take a half a loaf of enforcement here, as we discussed today, to keep Houston wide open without any regulation.
Well, let me just say that with these amendments that are to be offered up, the city of Houston is actually supportive of the bill.
The city attorney did. Our mayor's in Turkey, and that city attorney doesn't understand how the process works, that if the amendments go on, he's for it.
Well, that's right. That's just what I said.
But you also know that after the amendments go off in the House, and you have no control over the House, as none of the 31 of us do, that it only takes 16 to concur, does it not, to concur when it comes back?
Senator, I've made a pledge, and we've discussed this at length on this floor. I've made a pledge of the 6 primary areas of concern that members from both parties have voiced with me, including the various consumer groups, including organizations like the Catholic Conference and others. And with those amendments on, which I've pledged will either stay on or we will kill the bill. The bill will not go through the process. And I will most certainly not bring it back to this floor where, you're right, it would only take 16 votes.
Okay. Well, John, first of all, this is not personal. Someone, after our exchange Thursday, said, what's going on over there? I said, well, when I got to the Senate, we had debate like that every day. So in that spirit, I'm going to remind you of your April 2nd comments when you laid this original bill out in committee. Your opening remark was, this bill in its current form, as written, is the only version of this that will pass this session. Is that not accurate that you said April 2nd that was the final version?
That's correct in committee, but that was before I realized we'd come to the floor and have the opposition that was voiced. All of that opposition, well, not all of it, but most of that opposition from people wanting more stringent changes in this. And I think that more stringent changes that protect consumers are absolutely appropriate.
Actually, was it not, John, the original bill was tougher than the one you're proposing today, because Van de Putte, I, and Lucio voted against it as it came out of committee because of its language, that it was more, as you said, April 2nd, the industry has given, every time we've gone to the table, I'm convinced that the industry has gone absolutely as far as it intends to go.
That's correct.
And if
But
this
see, John,
bill does change by any material amount over in the House because of the commitments made in Senate negotiations, the bill will not be considered. I mean, it is, I understand a process here, but it just is changing, John, and in all due respect, you've said this is the final version, April 2nd. Today you're saying this is the final version.
John,
and I will promise you, and I understand, I don't question your integrity or your changing your commitment, but at some point, I've seen it 100 times, it'll come back from the House and you'll say, members, this is better than, not to put words in your mouth, but there will be interest groups, there will be members, there will be these consumer groups. The city of Houston will say, this is better than no bill. And I suggest to you that a bill that regulates stuff in Austin, allowing Houston to be totally unregulated, they will make hundreds of millions of dollars, and that's why they didn't try to kill the bill over the floor. And in fact, Senator Carona, would you believe this if I told you the only contact we heard was my office? Didn't talk to me because I would have told them what I think about their proposal. We had a representative of the industry call my chief of staff and say, what would it take to get Whitmire to support Carona's proposal on Monday? First of all, I think it is a totally inappropriate question for the industry to pose to any member. And number two, I think it shows that, in fact, they may say they don't like it, but in fact they didn't kill the proposal as you suggested they would over the weekend. Do you not understand my concerns that I think we're selling for a piecemeal of regulation and leaving the vast area of Houston-Harris County wide open to the abuses that you and I and others know exist? And in fact, the abuses that Senator Davis has done such an outstanding job of highlighting. The abuses that all of us would like to stop, as Austin, San Antonio, El Paso, and Dallas has done. In closing, would you support my amendment that I've got on fixing to offer up to do away with those preemptions and allow Houston to be treated the same as Dallas would? Would you accept that amendment?
No, sir, I wouldn't.
Bill tougher and more consumer friendly.
I wouldn't. I mean, this is a process that has to go through both chambers. We're doing our best over here to offer up as tough a bill as we can. Despite your claims, this bill is significantly tougher than where we were just 3 weeks ago in this process. I have met with your colleagues and my colleagues into the evening trying to, in recent weeks, trying to put together the toughest bill possible, but yet recognizing that there's a tilting point, Senator Whitmire, at which you can make this so tough that it will be killed. And I suspect that that's probably its future course anyway, at where we are today. But I'm willing to fight for it, and please let me finish. I'm willing to stand behind these amendments. And I've not changed my word on any of this. The facts have changed in trying to secure the votes, but I'm candidly not sure which side you're arguing here, whether you want a tougher bill or whether you really want us to go back to the bill that, as you said, please allow me to finish. Please allow me to finish. Again, I see your vote, but I'm not here to question what your motives are. I just want to pass a bill that takes a serious problem and addresses it in as tough a fashion as we possibly can this session.
Let me not question your motives, because I know you're not questioning mine. But you stood there on Thursday and urged us to go ahead and vote on Thursday.
Yes, sir.
You were hitting the panic button. That you start right here. I could name names. Go right in there. They're anxiously watching how we vote. And they have not lobbied against this bill. And you don't have to be the smartest person in this building to know that they have hired most every available outside lobbyist available. They've contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're sitting by fixing to watch this bill be passed. Let me ask you, how likely do you think this bill will come back from the House with your proposed amendments still on it? How likely? What kind of odds would you say that the House is going to take your amendments and concur?
Senator, we've already addressed that.
Well, let me just tell you what. This ain't my first rodeo, and it ain't going to be my last one. Members, the proposal today, with the amendments that's going to go on, without mine, which would go ahead and allow my city to be regulated like most of yours, is going to go to the House, And when it comes back, it will not resemble the bill leaving this body. I will forecast that, and nearly certain, because they're not going to spend the effort in the campaigns, in the lobbying, in the working, and to get the cities and the consumer groups. They will make back whatever they're losing in your proposal in the first year in the city of Houston, because they're going to continue to rape and rob the people of Houston, because it's going to be deregulated. Now, you can argue a legal challenge will come forward, but before they tie that up in the courts, and that'll be years ago, if you pass your version where there's a moratorium, they'll want another moratorium. Won't you agree, Senator Carona? In 2 years, the same folks will say, give us 2 more years moratorium till the courts clarify this. I'm going to vote no, because it's what's in the best interest of my community, and I think we can do a lot better. And I will propose and forecast that when it comes from the House, it won't have the amendments that you're promising to protect. There won't be nothing to protect. They'll be gone.
Well, Senator, I don't know how much closer you could come to calling somebody a liar, but because I've given you my word that I will not bring this bill back if it doesn't maintain these 6 amendments specifically. I don't know how much clearer I can make it for you. I will not bring it back to this floor if it doesn't have those 6 amendments on it. Now, if you believe passing nothing, which I am come to believe is your real objective here, if you believe passing nothing and continuing to charge consumers $200 million plus per year more than they have to pay if we pass some legislation is good and sensible approach, then more power to you. Go back home to your district and explain it, because I suspect you've got a lot more payday lenders in your district than they do in mine.
Absolutely, and that's why I want the City of Houston to regulate them. I'll make you a proposal. I'll vote to suspend if you'll take my amendment regulating the City of Houston. That's a good faith proposal right here in front of 31 senators.
Well, I'd
take my language regulating the City of Houston immediately as your Dallas has stringent requirements, and you'll get another vote. Because I want stringent requirements like Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and El Paso.
All right.
But you won't do that, will you?
No, sir, I won't do that.
I rest my case.
Okay. Thank you.